What's going on, guys? Sam Adams here, and tonight I am making a video that I can confidently say I never thought that I would be able to make. And that is a video on the fact that Microsoft has unlocked Xbox Live to be somewhat compatible with the PlayStation 4, meaning that in the very near future, if you have an Xbox One, you could very well be playing with people on the PlayStation 4 and vice versa, which is something that the gaming industry has been asking for a very, very, very long time. Now, this entire situation began earlier this week with a little game called Rocket League, which is available on the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. Now, the launch times were a little bit different. The PlayStation 4 and PC launched last year, and the Xbox One launched just a couple of weeks ago. However, with the PlayStation 4 and PC launch, it didn't matter if you played on PlayStation 4 or PC. They were on the same servers, meaning that the PlayStation 4 guys were pairing up with those that were on the PC and vice versa, and it all worked out fairly well, and it made the community pretty happy to have that larger fan base instead of isolating themselves to the PlayStation 4 servers or the PC servers, which, needless to say, would have been smaller. Now, whenever the Xbox One version of the game was launched, it did not have this feature, meaning that those players were locked into the Xbox community, those that happened to be purchasing Rocket League on the Xbox One. Now, of course, there were plenty of people playing the game on the Xbox One, and there would have been no server problems in the long run, but it was still very unfortunate to be able to look over and see the PlayStation 4 and PC guys playing together in the same match. So I suppose the guys over at Psyonix kind of acted as a Ronald Reagan and talked to Microsoft, which is of course Gorbachev, and they have now torn down the wall between the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. In a statement on the Xbox Wire, developers now have the opportunity to include a feature within their games that allows cross-play connectivity between the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, meaning that if they so chose, the guys at Infinity Ward, for instance, could make a Call of Duty game that is compatible with both the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 servers, meaning that if you have an Xbox One and you have a friend on a PlayStation 4 that has the same game, you could very well play with them regardless of the fact that you both own different consoles from different companies. Now, in my childhood, this issue actually caused a good bit of ruckus. Whenever I was choosing a PlayStation 3 or a 360 of the console to adopt for that generation, I was literally divided between who was on Xbox 360 and who was on PlayStation 3. Of course, I had friends that were on both, and I ultimately had to choose my console based on the exclusives that it offered, so I ended up going with the PlayStation 3 at the time, and we'll talk about that in a minute. However, with Microsoft kind of bridging the gap between Xbox and PlayStation now, and PlayStation seeming to want to adopt that same kind of relationship, this very well might be the end of the console wars whenever it comes to choosing what you want to play on based on your friend group. Now, there are still a couple of things that are going to isolate these consoles from one another, and that is, of course, like I mentioned, exclusives. You know, Xbox is always going to have Halo and Tomb Raider first. You know, you're going to have that, Gears of War, Forza, etc. And PlayStation is still going to have The Last of Us, Uncharted, all of those games on their side, so you're still going to have some incentive to purchase one console over another based on the games you are interested in playing. Now, I do see a new kind of console war that could emerge from this scenario, and that is pretty much price gouging. Now, if you aren't familiar with that term, it's pretty much where two competitors lower their prices as much as they can to entice people to come to their side of things. So now I could imagine, I mean, let's just set up the scenario. So you have a friend on an Xbox One and you have another friend on a PlayStation 4, and you are upgrading to a new generation console. Now, you are looking at the prices for these new generation consoles, and you are divided between the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Now, the Xbox One, currently at the time of making this video, is sitting at about $350 for a bundle that you could get with a couple of games. Now, the same can be said for the PlayStation 4, except for the fact that that is $400. Now, unless you enjoyed those exclusives that were offered on either side, you could very well choose the Xbox One for $50 cheaper and get the exact same experience and be able to play with your friends that were, say, playing Call of Duty or Battlefield, a cross-platform title, and you could play with your friends and have no issues whatsoever. That would definitely entice me to buy an Xbox One if I was not interested in exclusives whatsoever. What it comes down to is that there are still a lot of details to work out, and I'm not even sure if developers would adopt this method of making their games. Of course, that would require some more server maintenance. It would probably put a lot more strain on the servers themselves, and I'm not really sure how everything would work on the technical side of things. But the fact that Xbox has made the notion to make Rocket League cross-platform playable, you know, be able to play with the guys on PlayStation 4 and PC, that is a huge step forward, and it's almost like we are seeing a unification of gamers, which is a good good thing, because instead of focusing on which one's better, Xbox or PlayStation, you know, instead of focusing on where your friends happen to be playing and getting that console because your friends have that one, we can get back to what really truly matters, and that is enjoying the experiences that these games have to offer and exploring the worlds that these developers create for us to enjoy. So there you guys have it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, drop me a like down below and share so that more people can find the channel. And if you enjoyed this video and you enjoy the other ones, you might want to click that subscribe button and stay up to date with all of my uploads. But as of right now, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching this particular video. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.